Hey guys, head over to Candace Owens' YouTube channel and watch her live. She asks, "Did Biden die?" And I think it's a legitimate question. Did Biden die? I understand that a lot of people are naive and a lot of people think, well, that couldn't happen and people aren't manipulating Biden and Biden is actually doing his job and um, but it's not a conspiracy theory to think it's possible that someone behind the scenes could be manipulating this withdrawal from the presidential election. Shortly after Joe Biden personally declared that he was staying in the election and running for president of the United States in 2024. The fact that shortly after those declarations, he withdraws from the 2024 presidential race with a tweet that does not contain the presidential seal. Not a video message, not a live stream, not an official letter from his from the Oval Office. I mean, it's not. And then the phone call. So go over and watch Candace Owens' video, but she brings up a lot of points and gives us a lot of stuff to think about in just a few minutes. We're going to watch a clip here, but go over and watch the full video.
Suddenly, on that same day, on July 22nd, he called into campaign headquarters so that he could address people via telephone. Again, this is via telephone, not in person. Obviously, we live in the age where someone could have easily had him on Skype, could have put him on FaceTime so he could say hello if you're concerned about COVID spreading. But nope, it was just a phone call. I'm going to let you listen to a little bit of that phone call, and I will tell you what is odd about it. Take a listen.
But this COVID keep me out of people's hair for the next 3 or 4 days. But I'm going to be on the road, and I'm not going anywhere. It's kept me away a little bit, but I want people to remember that what we have done has been incredible, and we get so much more we're going to get done. And so I want to say hello to Kamala if she can hear me. I know she's going to be speaking shortly, and I want to say to the team, embrace her. She's the best. I want to call today to thank everybody in this effort. I know yesterday's news was surprising, and it was hard for you to hear, but it was the right thing to do. I know it's hard because you poured your heart and soul into me to help us win this thing. Help me get this nomination.
We can get out of this.
Help me win the nomination.
So he's confirming that they were all surprised by this news, that he decided to just do this in a tweet without his presidential seal. But also, we know that we live in the age where you can create these AI recordings. On my last show, I showed you guys how I could create a recording and I could be any person that I wanted, because there is now the AI technology where all you have to do is record a soundbite of them, and then you could just force the AI to say whatever you want that person to say in an AI voice. And it's very scary. There's a lot of scam calls going on because people are pretending to be relatives and using AI technology to get people to acquiesce to giving their credit card details because they think that their loved one is in trouble. So this is just not convincing. And as if it weren't convincing enough, Kamala Harris then gets on stage and has a gaffe, because that's what it's always called whenever they do it. It's a gaffe. And as she's speaking with Joe Biden, as I'm about to show you, rather than saying that he's on a call, she says, or almost says, that he is on a recording. So take a listen.
It is so good to hear our president's voice. Joe, I know you're still on the call, and we've been talking every day. You guys heard it from Doug's voice. We love Joe and Jill. We really do. They truly are like family to us. And we do, everybody here does.
It's mutual.
I knew you were still there. You're not going anywhere, Joe.
I'm watching you, kid. I'm watching you, kid. I love you.
I love you, Joe.
So you see, she says you're still on the call. So people took that and said that's a strange slip there to call it on the call. And again, it just doesn't make people feel as though that's actually Joe Biden on the phone due to the tech that is available to create someone who is speaking just like him. Then it gets even stranger. Charlie Kirk, who is a friend of mine, I work with Turning Point USA all the time, tweeted this onto his X profile. He wrote this: I got a weird lead, on a story that people should look into. I got a call from a source close to Las Vegas Metro. The official story was that Joe Biden's trip was cut short last week due to COVID. However, according to this source, U.S. Secret Service informed LV Metro that there was an emergency situation involving Joe Biden and to close necessary streets so that the POTUS could be transported immediately to University Medical, which they began to do in earnest. Then mysteriously, there was a stand down order, and the USSS informed local Vegas PD that they were going to medevac POTUS to Johns Hopkins, which they presumed meant fly him back east ASAP. Apparently, the rumor mill in the police department was that Joe Biden was dying or possibly already dead. I didn't think too much about this lead. It seemed too wild to be true, but given that Joe Biden has been out of public sight for days and dropped out of the race via an X post, and his brother James indicated health was a factor, I'm beginning to grow more curious if COVID or something else has been more serious than reported. If anyone with LV Metro has information, please email blank. I want to hear if there was more to the official story than what they're telling us. And sure enough, somebody did email Charlie Kirk with more information. And Charlie tweeted as a follow-up that he had received multiple emails like this one confirming that many elements of the story elements of the story. Many have confirmed that a call went out to block streets to get Biden to University Medical Trauma Center ASAP, and then the plan abruptly changed and they got him out on AF1 very quickly. And I can just read you this email. Charlie, your info is solid. I retired from Las Vegas Metro in blank. My source texted me this just now. We are making plans to go to UMC Trauma first. Called in box squads to come help shut down the route. Then it changed to taking him to the airport. He was on the plane fast and took off faster than I've ever seen Air Force One leave the airport. So obviously this led to people going wild and realizing that they may not have communicated what was actually going on with the president. Now, here's what I will say. It is plausible that he was having some medical COVID emergency and they were going to race him to that medical center and then decided, you know, it's better, let's just get him back to Delaware, get him back to Washington, D.C., and he can see his actual doctors. But the fact that that was not communicated, I guess, makes people feel a little alarmed. And the strangest element of this is that in such a short window of time, he went from saying, yes, I am definitively still running, we're not backing out of this race, to just dropping this letter. And again, it did not bear the presidential seal, so kind of feels like there's something going on there. Now, is he in fact dead? Well, he recently, very recently, a couple of hours ago, has been seen coming out of his car, you know, pulled off his mask, and it looks like he is boarding Air Force One, but he doesn't say anything in this clip that I'm about to show you as reporters are attempting to speak to him. Take a look at this. So I'll just talk over this for those of you that are listening on the podcast, but yeah, he just gets out of his vehicle. He's wearing sunglasses, and the reporters are asking him a question, but he doesn't actually respond to the question. He instead just buttons up his jacket, gives a thumbs up, and walks very slowly to Air Force One. So people are saying, is this actually Joe Biden? Now, I obviously can't answer that question, but I will say this. It's not a conspiracy theory to believe that there are presidential decoys. There have been presidential decoys since the beginning of time. And when I tell you that if you looked at a president or a leader and then looked at his decoy, you would not be able to tell the difference. Actually, Business Insider did an article a couple of years ago showing Fidel Castro's decoy or stunt double, so to speak, I guess just presidential double, as well as Saddam Hussein's, I am telling you, there was just entirely no way that you would ever know that that was a different person. It also speaks about in that same article how Stalin had a decoy. So it is very commonplace. I would actually say it's the industry standard for obvious reasons, because if you're concerned about the president's safety, you need to make sure that you have someone who looks just like him. And what they make those decoys do, sometimes they do go under and they have plastic surgery, as that article in Business Insider stipulates. They definitively make them go through classes. They coach them on how to move and essentially just how to fake people into believing that that's actually them. So who knows? Could this be a decoy? Could this not be a decoy? The more important thing is that he is slated to speak and to address the American people from the White House. And I think that will give us the comfort that I think people deserve in knowing that he's actually alive, that he is making these decisions of sound mind. Now, of course, no matter what, when he speaks, we know he's not really of sound mind, but the main concern is that something more serious happened. And I think that the only way to get those concerns resolved or set aside is to make sure that he appears and he speaks in front of the American people. Lastly, I will say this, because I saw the earlobe conspiracy theory where people were saying, well, when he was working under Joe Biden, when Joe Biden was the vice president under Obama, he had earlobes that were detached, and now his earlobes are, not detached from his head, and that's 100% true. But my obvious response to that is that all of these people get facelifts, and once you get a facelift, something with the procedure, they work on your ears to pull things up. So I think that really is just the same Joe Biden that was VP is the same Joe Biden that is president now. It's just simply trying to stay young and likely getting half a facelift or an entire facelift.
So what do you guys think? Is Biden alive? Did that look like Biden walking up the stairs of Air Force One? I would look at how his back slouches in other videos and the way he carries himself up the stairs. He supposedly has COVID, but yet he's walking awful straight and awful steady up those stairs. More so than I think we've ever seen him, but he's supposed to be sick. So I don't know. Like I said, I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but anybody who doesn't believe that something funny is going on behind the scenes of the office of the President of the United States, it has got to be insane. Even worse is that the American people are just watching it and just in a state of I'm not sure what we're in a state of, except a state of possible shock, trauma. Nobody knows what to do about it. So what do you guys think? Personally, I think Biden is still alive. I don't think he's dead. I don't think Candace thinks that Biden is dead. I don't think anyone in America thinks that Biden is dead. But I do believe it is very, very, very possible that the phone call to headquarters was AI. I do believe it's very, very more likely possible that the Biden walking up the stairs of Air Force One was a double. So, am I crazy? Go over and watch the rest of Candace's video, because she also gets into Kim Cheadle's resignation and other current news that we know her so well for. So go over and check her out. Please subscribe. I'm doing what I can to create a little bit of content, and when you subscribe, you let me know that somebody's out there watching.